Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationship advice channel. Okay, we're going to get into this trial. We got a toxic one, and it's really sad. This young girl right here, she was messing with this Dusty. Hope I got the story right. I'm new to this. I'm trying to get on. We're on day 2 of the trial. She's messing around with this Dusty. I guess she got pregnant by Dusty, and he didn't want the baby and all this, and she wanted to take for child support because they found out he's married. Yeah, he's married. The married Dusty. So he kills her and he kills their baby. He stabs them. So this is trial day 2. So we're gonna watch some of it. I'm gonna go fast forward some of the stuff. We're just gonna watch a couple of clips of day 2, and I'm gonna find a day to do the opening statements of the prosecution and the defense. But we're gonna watch today. Now, and today here, this is very interesting trial. I wasn't able to watch all of it, so we're kind of watching it together. So the best friend is going to come on the stand, so we're going to hear what she has to say. Then we're going to watch some other stuff. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you're following the trial and all that good stuff. All right, this son of a gun. We got another Dusty on the loose, a low-life Dusty. Are you kidding me? You didn't want no kids with her? You should have used a darn condom. Pisses me off. Alright, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. And the speed will be on. How we do? 1, 2, 5. Let's get it.
Please have a seat. Good morning, members of the jury. All right, we'll start with your next witness, Mr. Hernandez.
State calls Adriana Flores.
Adriana Flores, please. Sergeant Lawrence, please bring her up.
Now, I will say some parts might be a little bit low. It's not my fault. It's the recording over there that with the microphones and all this kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I see Bix popped up in here, and blessed to you and welcome. This coward killed his own kid. Yeah. How can you do this? Monster. And when you look at him in the trial, the expression he has on his face, like, whatever, so what, I don't care, I did it. That's what's really triggering about this whole thing. It's his whole expression through this court. But let me stop talking. Let's get into it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for, hitting that like, share it out. If you need to reach out to me, feel free. You find my email in the description. Let's get it.
Remind everyone about their cell phones. Please check them right now. I'm doing the same. Make sure they're on vibrate or off, please. Ms. Flores, good morning. Please come on up. Thank you. Good morning. You were sworn in already yesterday, is that correct? All right. Please have a seat right over here. Uh-oh. Let's see if they're on. Yeah, no, it's on. Correct. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. All right. So if you could sit up a little bit so that we can get you right good on the microphone, Ms. Flores. You can pull the chair up a little bit. There you go. I got this. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to ask you to scoot up and speak into the mic so that the court reporter can hear you. Thank you. Can you please state your name for the record?
Adriana Flores.
Do you know why you're here today?
Yes.
Why is it that you are here today?
Because I was Grizelda's best friend.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to try to speak a little louder. You have a soft voice. What is your relationship with her? Is that as her best friend?
Yeah.
How did you know Grizelda?
We went to school together.
Okay. When you say school, can you be more specific?
I met her in middle school and throughout high school.
And what grades? Did you all share grades or in different grades? Can you please tell us?
We were in the same grade. Yeah, we were in middle school together, and in high school we were freshmen together.
Okay. And when did you all become best friends?
Throughout high school, we were really close in freshman year. Then I didn't go to school. I got out of school in my junior year, and then we reconnected in 2014.
How did you reconnect in 2014?
We had each other on social media, and we just started messaging each other.
How did your relationship evolve after that? Like, how did it grow?
We just started hanging out more, doing like the mom things, going out together.
Now, when you say the mom things, how many children do you have?
I have 4.
Okay. And you reconnected with her in 2014. How many children did she have at that point?
1.
Okay. And eventually, did she come to have another child?
Yes.
And who was that child?
Dominic
Dominic Hernandez?
Hernandez, yes.
Dominic Alexander Hernandez.
Dominic Alexander.
And did you know Dominic?
Yes.
So in 2015, you started doing mom things with her?
Yes.
Like what?
We would just go out. We would go out to eat, shop with the kids. At that time, she only had her first son,
What's his name?
Jaden.
Okay. Did you have any children close to the age of Dominic?
Yes.
Who is that?
My 2 youngest ones. They were a few months apart from each other. Like, yeah.
Do you remember when Grizelda became pregnant with Dominic?
Yes, in 2015.
Let's talk about that. How did you learn about her pregnancy?
She texted me, and she told me that she was pregnant.
Did she tell you or discuss anything about the father of the baby?
Yeah, she told me that it was someone that she was dating, which was Anthony, and she just told me she was pregnant, and she didn't know what to do.
Had you ever met this Anthony?
No.
At the time that she said that she was pregnant from Anthony, did you know if she had been seeing this guy Anthony?
I knew she had been seeing Anthony, yeah, but I never met him or anything like that.
You mentioned that you would text Grizelda. What other platforms would you use what other types of social media would you use to speak with her?
We usually message through Facebook Messenger and Snapchat.
Do you know if Grizelda had a job?
No, she didn't.
What was Grizelda doing in 2015, 2016?
She was going to school to TAMU.
Do you know what she was pursuing?
Nursing.
Do you know how she was able to handle the jobs of school and being a mom?
What
How
do
was
you?
she doing it financially?
Oh, she. I do know that she was struggling a bit, and she was getting student loans and helping herself out with that.
And the student loans would help her with daycare?
With daycare, with the school daycare and anything she needed at that time.
Did you all live near each other?
Yes.
In what neighborhood per se, or what neighborhood can you tell the jury without the address?
She lived on Dillwood, and I lived on a neighborhood over, which was like Rancho Viejo. Around.
What do you call that part of the city? Off of what?
It's Mines Road.
Okay. That's in the west of the river.
Yeah.
I want to go back to April the 9th of 2018. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Did you remember coming in contact with Grizelda on that day?
Yes.
How, if any, did you come in contact with Grizelda?
On April 9th,
Yes.
she called me to ask if she can use my restroom, and she went over to my house.
Do you remember more or less what time this occurred during the day?
It was like around 9 in the morning.
Right before 9 or?
Right before 9, or 9.
Okay. And when she arrived to your house, how did she get there?
She was in her sister's car.
What type of car was that?
It was a white Mercedes.
Was anybody else in the car?
Dominic.
For baby. Okay. And where was he?
He was in the back seat, in the car seat.
Do you remember what he was doing?
He was with his little phone. He was watching a little cartoon or something.
On his own phone. Did you go out and greet Dominic?
Yes, she went inside the house to use my restroom, and I stayed outside with Dominic, and I stayed inside the car for a little bit.
Did you have any discussions with her or offer to take care of Dominic?
I don't recall if I offered to take care of him, but I did. I just stayed with him for a little bit and just waited till she came out.
you know where she was going?
Yes, to the park.
When you say the park, what park is that?
Father McNoby.
Father McNulty or Father McNaboe Park?
Yeah, that one.
And do you remember seeing any food in the car?
Yeah, I saw Chick-fil-A.
So she was, any particular reason why she was going to Father McNaboe Park? You know why she was going?
Yeah, she mentioned she was gonna go to the park to meet Anthony.
The father of the baby?
Yes.
Did you have any plans to see her later on that day?
Yes. We had, our original plans was, we had already discussed it a day before where she was gonna come over around noon. We were gonna watch a movie and hang out with the kids in my house.
And after she came out of the restroom and walked out of your house to get into your car, did she ask you anything? About,
Before she left my house,
yeah.
she said, "How do I look?"
What did you say?
"You look great. Call me back. I mean, call me when you're on your way."
Did you see her again that day?
No, I didn't.
Let's go and talk about this Anthony. Did she ever tell you what his last name was?
Yes.
What was his last name?
Burgos.
Anthony Burgos. What kind of information did she share with you about Anthony?
At the beginning, she just told me that he was a border patrol.
That was at the beginning. What else did you come to learn about Anthony?
Well, when we first talked about him, she just mentioned that he was a border patrol and that he was separated, and that's pretty much what I knew about him.
Did you know if he was living in Laredo?
No. From my understanding, he wasn't living in Laredo. Like, he worked, but he would just come sometimes.
Like he was stationed somewhere else?
Yeah, I believe so. So I thought.
I see you now, Gigi, creeping through the back door. And thank everybody for coming, and make sure you hit that like.
To your knowledge, did Anthony ever help her with the baby financially?
No.
How do you know that?
Because she mentioned it to him, and he didn't want anything to do with the baby. Like, he didn't want her to go through the pregnancy, so he wasn't helping at all.
When you say he didn't want her to go through the pregnancy, what do you mean by that?
He wanted her to abort the baby.
What was her decision?
She didn't want to. She was gonna keep the baby.
So going into 2017, he said us having financial problems or struggles in 2017. He said that with the baby, school, financially it's tough.
Yes.
You guys discussed options or what she should do?
She did. Well, we did talk about her wanting to putting him on child support so she can help herself.
What was your opinion about that?
I told her that she should.
So at that point in time, did she know before the decision? Ultimately, did she decide that yes, she's going to pursue child support?
Yeah.
Up until that time, did she know where Anthony lived?
No.
Did you or her or both of you try to find out more about Anthony?
Yes.
So tell us, did you help her try to find stuff out about Anthony?
We tried to do our investigation, I can say. We would like go through social media, Google, see a little bit more about him, just see what we can find out. Because you need like an address to be able to report for child.
Okay, people that's in the chat, if you have been watching this, let me know and help me out to understand this, because I'm just catching this. I got a lot to catch up. I'd only seen some of the opening statement and was able to see some today, some of day 2 today. How did they meet? Did they ever get into how they met? Anybody could tell me in the chat, how did them two meet, and basically how long was the relationship before the craziness started happening? And what I would also like to know is, maybe I need to read on this one. Also would like to know is how she didn't know he was married, or she didn't know, or she did know, but she didn't pay it no attention. She was like, whatever. But then later on, she wanted to find out. You know, all those crazy questions. Like I said, this is a teaching channel for us to learn. I need to know about these kind of things. Like trying to figure out what happened, if I'm making sense. Did this to this little baby. This man is a monster. And I'd like to know if his wife is standing beside him. Interesting. I don't know. All right. Let me know, y'all, in the chat. And I'm also going to put the link out in case anybody wants to jump up here and share their thoughts. I'm going to put the links out in about, maybe about 15 minutes or so. I'm going to put the link out if anybody want to come up here and share their thoughts that they've been following this and give us a little insight. Especially me. All right, let's get back to it.
Support.
So as her best friend, you're helping her now try to find this guy. Yes.
Yes.
So you're using social media. That's what.
Instagram, Facebook, and Google search.
Any success finding out information on him or his family?
The sister testified yesterday. I missed that. The sister testimony was heartbreaking. I should have been doing the sister today. Maybe I'll show her and then I'm going to show the sister. Or maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I don't know. The sister, look, we're going to see the sister tomorrow. I'm just going to finish this. I'm going to do day 2 today. I don't want to switch all over the place, have people confused. But tomorrow I will show the sister. Okay? I'm going to try to do this every night while the trial. I think this trial is supposed to be short, if I'm correct. A week and a half. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know. All right, let's get back to it.
She was able to find Instagram and the address on Google.
Now that she had the address, are we talking now 2017, close to 2018?
Close to 2018.
Around that whole child support time?
Yeah, I don't recall the dates.
That's fine. What, if anything, do y'all do?
Well, we find out where he lives, and we did pass by his house to see if we can, like, if he actually did live here or he didn't.
How many times were you, or let me ask you this, how, if any way, did you get to go to his house? Who was driving?
I would drive.
You would drive?
Yeah, I went like once or twice, and I drove when I was with her.
Do you remember the color of his house?
I don't remember.
Do you remember more or less what part of town he lived in?
Around Shiloh.
Okay, now Gigi sharing something with me. It wasn't a relationship. He just cheated on her. She didn't know anything about him. You mean cheat on her? You talking about his wife? Because he was married, correct? Right now, Gigi? So, what was this? Just like a hookup, a one-night stand kind of thing? No relationship? He was just stopping by, breaking some cookies, and then that was it? Something like that? Let me know. All right, let's get back to it. All right, wait a minute. Let me just read these comments real quick. All right, and Deb says, haven't heard anything of that. Okay. Nail Gigi says, her friend that's on the stand now did her diligence and found out about his wife and kids. Okay. All right. Deb said she divorced him, moved to Florida with the kids. Oh, shoot. Smart woman. Okay. Shout out to the wife. He cheated on his wife. Nell Gigi said, I'm loving this. Thank you, y'all. He cheated on his wife with her, and she became pregnant. Then he didn't want anything else to do with her. Oh, okay. I was kind of feeling this was it. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Oh, that's all right. We all do typos. Okay, now I'm getting a better picture. So he met this girl, messing around with her. She get pregnant. He's like, you can have an abortion. I don't want you. Or whatever. Okay, let's get back to it. Ooh, I wish I could do the sister today. I want to see the sister. All right, let's get back to it. That poor baby.
Shiloh Crossing, I want to say, or Shiloh, off Loop 20.
So if you enter Shiloh off of Loop 20,
Mhm.
can you give me just a general direction how to get there?
So around where the Shiloh Crossing apartments are, in that subdivision.
You go in there.
Yes. I don't recall how to, more or less, but yes, passing the apartments.
So that's one of the landmarks there, the apartments.
Yeah.
Other landmarks or buildings that you remember?
I remember there was a park nearby, and that's it. I don't recall anything else.
Were you ever able to find out if you had a family?
Yes, we
Tell us about that.
so we eventually found out that he was indeed married, and that the wife actually lived in Laredo.
Oh, why do you say she actually lived in Laredo?
Because at the beginning, when she thought that they were separated, or she wasn't in the picture, there was some mention that she lived out of state
Where?
in Florida, I want to say.
Were you all able to discover any information on his wife? Social media on Anthony's wife?
Just her name.
Okay. And were you able to view any photos on her site?
Yeah, we saw some pictures of her children, of his kids.
Do you all remember, or what did you do when you all saw these pictures of the
Well,
children?
at that point, it's when he was like always denying, like this is already like fast forward, he denied Dominic, so we just compared the pictures of his son to Dominic, and they were the same. They look very alike.
When you say they were the same, you found pictures of Anthony's kids? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we saw a picture of one of his, I don't know if it's his youngest or which one, but there was a baby picture and it looked so much alike, like Dominic.
You have permission to approach her?
You may.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 490, 495, 494, and 496. I'll ask you if you recognize these pictures.
Yeah. Yes.
That's on 496. 495.
Yes.
See what function the witness, I'm sorry.
Sure, I was going to show them to you right now. She's not. I'm just asking if she's recognizes 494.
Yes.
Okay. And these are the images that you all saw on the Facebook.
Yeah. On Instagram, I'm sorry.
Instagram.
On Instagram.
494, 495, 496. Move to introduce 494, 495, 496.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Be admitted without objection.
Thank you. I'm first going to show you these pictures. You recognize the little baby?
Yes. That's Dominic.
Right here. Dominic?
Well, Dominic, yes.
You recognize his little shoes?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Let me ask you, you saw Dominic on the last day he was alive. Was he walking?
No. Oh, he was in the car seat.
Okay, but was he okay?
No, I had seen him days prior. He was not walking.
And we'll get to that. I'm going to show you also these two pictures.
Dominic.
And I'm going to show you the other pictures.
That's Dominic.
Who's this little baby?
So I think that's his other son.
In other words, that's not Dominic.
That's not Dominic.
What number is on display now, sir?
This is 495.
Oh.
So these little lips of kisses on Dominic, who did that?
Grizelda.
And then it happens that Anthony's son, on his wife's page, she has kisses on his.
Yes.
They look very similar.
Yes.
Do you remember what his name was on social media?
I'm sorry, who's?
Do you remember what name Anthony used on social media?
Roro Avi.
Can you spell that for us?
I think it's Roro, and then Avi is AVI.
Roro Avi.
Mm-hmm.
What else did you come to learn about the relationship that Grizelda had with Anthony?
Well,
Like how often would they see each other?
they would see each other just once in a while. It wasn't I wouldn't say it was like a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. It was more like they just dated once in a while.
Did you ever know how would they communicate?
By social media.
Okay. Do you know how she met Anthony?
All I know is that they met by social media,
But you don't know which social media?
not what platform. No,
Do you know what type of relationship Anthony had with Dominic?
they had no relationship.
In fact, did you ever learn about him wanting to give up his paternal rights?
Yes, he texted Griselda that he wanted to give up his rights.
Did you see that text? Or did she show you that text?
Yes.
And you said earlier that you would use social media, or you would use Instagram to communicate with her?
I would use Facebook Messenger and Snapchat to communicate with her.
Can I help you?
You may.
I'm gonna do, Your Honor, to be more efficient with time, I'll show her all the text message printouts we have and have her identify them all instead of having to come back each time. So I'm gonna show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 47, 48, 49, and have you look at 47.
Mm-hmm.
You recognize this?
Yes.
Okay. You can look at the next one. You recognize what's in 48?
Yes.
Also, in 487, there's a couple of other pages. Can you look at it and tell me if it fairly and accurately depicts what's in there, that it's accurate? And that you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Can you check the next page on 47?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Okay. Now go to 48. You can check 48 and tell the court if it fairly accurately depicts what you're seeing.
Yes.
Okay. And in 49? Is that fair and accurately depict 49?
Yeah, that's my.
That's you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
What is that crap on his arm? Looks demonic. I can't lay down with no man looking like that. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Resume. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pick up the speed. Yes, we do that sometimes over here. If you need to slow it down on your end, feel free to do it. It's really like a, clips recap. So I'm going to speed up to 1.5. If you need to slow it down, you hit the settings on your side. You can put on normal speed so it can slow down. But we're going to go to 1.5. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's resume.
We'll introduce 487, 488, 488.
487, states 487, 88, and 89. Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Be admitted without objection. Each one will just have one page.
489 is one page, 48 is one page. For the record, 487 is 3 pages.
All right, thank you.
So I'm going to show you what's already been admitted. That's 47. Okay.
Way to reverse it.
It's 11 and 9.
Just let it focus a little bit.
Look at the low life just sitting there. Just look at him.
All right. This is a
Idiot, you fool, you
You
monster.
recognize it?
Yes.
You recognize the date? 1/13 of 2018, January 13th. Okay. This is around the time where the child support case is. She's gonna file.
She's gonna file.
And who is this text?
That's Grizelda texting me.
Okay. Can you read that out loud for the jury?
It's, dude, I'm bawling my eyes out right now. A, which is Anthony, is thinking about giving up his rights. I know I said I'd be okay, but I'm totally not. I literally don't know what I did to deserve such a douchebags as their dads. Jaden and Dom deserve more than this, more than them, and worst part of it all, I feel responsible for giving them shitty people as their fathers.
Okay. On page 2 of case exhibit 47. Starting at the top, can you tell us what date that is?
January 14, 2018.
Okay, this is from who to who? This is,
I believe I sent that.
okay,
I sent it to Chris.
and what do you say?
When did you send this? Because I just got it.
And then?
Dude, fuck him. Wait, he's such a douchebag. He doesn't deserve to ever see nor have anything to do with Dom.
That's what you say?
Yes.
Okay. Go on.
Dom doesn't need anyone but you and your family. He has everything. Don't even try talking with A anymore.
So now you're gonna say a slang word
Yes, in Spanish.
and I want you to say it, and then we're gonna wait for a translation. Is that right, Judge?
Yeah.
Okay, so, what slang Spanish word do you say here?
I say que chingue su madre.
Fuck him.
And then continue. What else do you say?
I said fuck him with CS, meaning child support, y vámonos que se vaya. And it's a slang word.
Well, if you could read it real time, just say it. It's okay. Just go ahead and say it how you say it.
Okay, I said fuck him with child support, y vámonos que se vaya a la verga.
Fuck him with CS, and that's it. He can go to hell.
It's his child biologically, so he needs to support financially. No más hasta ahí, meaning
Better.
And that's that.
And then what else do you say?
Dom will hurt more having a selfish person in and out of his life.
This is the advice you're giving her?
Yes.
Go ahead and continue.
Friday, I think,
Now this is, can you clarify for the record, is this from her to you or you to her?
I don't know, I can't see, and I don't recall if it's,
Judge, maybe approach.
Approach? Yes, approach please.
Was it worth it to kill her and kill the child? Monster. I'm trying to fast forward this talking, but I want to.
About where you have down.
it's just something about Friday.
Can you find it?
The 8370.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so now we're at message 8370, line 8370. It says to Adi. Who's Adi?
Me,
Your name's
Adriana. She would call me Adi.
All right, so, and I'm gonna ask you for the record to also say this to and from, or I sent this to, or I received from her.
Okay. Yeah.
So on this one, go ahead and start there.
So Grizelda sent me Friday, I think. I'm sorry, it's super small. Can you? That's a bit better. She put Friday, I think, way he was like, I'm not saying I am, it's just a piece of paper, and that's never going to stop me from seeing him. The only who can say, fuck it, I'm never going to see him is me. That's just a piece of paper that's not going to stop me from seeing him.
What were y'all talking about there?
I think she was telling me that that it's just a paper, I guess, because of him giving up his rights.
The next message?
And I was, she sent, and I was like, look, that's what you want? Tell me so we can get it over with. And he just said, no, you've never done anything for me to do that to you.
So she said, what is she telling you? That's what you told her. What do you make of that message?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, I'm seeing this right, but we're talking about the child support, so I guess he's meaning to do that to you as in, the,
If you don't know, that's fine.
yeah,
The next message.
okay. And so I don't know, like I'm telling him later that I'm just going this coming week because I can't anymore. I was like literally bawling my eyes out that night. I felt so fucking depressed. Like first Jaden, now Dom. Like really, wait, what the fuck is wrong with me? No mames.
Like, really, dude, what the fuck is wrong with me? Shit.
The next message is from who to who?
The next one is from me to her, and I go, and what did he say when you told him you were gonna go next week? I think I'm talking about the child support. I'm starting to. She put, I haven't told him, messaging him later, a ver qué dice.
Go ahead, ma'am.
The translation, a ver qué dice.
I haven't told him, message him later to see what he says.
And then I said, fuck his opinion.
To,
I told Grizelda, fuck his opinion.
they're talking about Anthony.
Yes, about the child support. Do I go ahead and read that?
Continue this.
So I put, al chile, pinche vato, no vale verga. I hate him and I don't know him. But me da un coraje. He doesn't know what he will miss out on. But that little boy is worth so much more than his part-time. Fuck him, fuck him, fuck him. And not literally, puts. Haha.
Honestly, fucking dude isn't worth the shit. I hate him and I don't know him, lol, but it pisses me off. He doesn't know what he will miss out on. But that little boy. The next message is, but that little boy's worth so much more than his part-time. Fuck him, fuck him, fuck him. Not literally. Interpreter needs a clarification on, but
I think we can move on.
Okay. Next message, right?
She put not literally with emojis. I'm guessing it was like laughing faces. And no mames, haha.
not literally. But
But yeah, she put, but yeah, I have to tell you the whole convo so you can know everything. Thank you.
The next message up on top is line 8380 on 114.18. Okay, start.
So Griselda texts me, I'm telling him later, so I'm bound to get all depressed and shit when we talk, since I know he's going to probably some slick shit way. And then she puts, he's like, I'm not living there anymore and I don't know when I'll even be there. Like I do, we catch up tomorrow, but bitch, don't let your phone die. Oh, just in case I get all but hurt. So she wrote that to me.
What does that mean?
That she's gonna talk to him, that they're gonna talk, so she's gonna end up being all sad and depressed, so for me to have my phone on standby just in case she needs to call me.
Next line.
She put, la falao, no, but really, culerita.
lol, no, but really, let's see.
And then she puts, and yeah, that's what I told him, that he literally had no idea if he's thinking or is going to give up his rights, pero pues I don't know. Emoji faces.
And yeah, that's what I told him, that he literally had no idea if he thinking or is going to give up his rights, but oh well, dude, I don't know.
Next line.
I texted her, I'll be on standby, love, don't worry, but message me through Facebook or something, because I don't know why I'm not getting messages all day, a day late unless I message first. So I was having issues with my phone. And she puts, okay, yeah, I will tomorrow for sure, too. I go back on Tuesday.
And to your knowledge, did she ever file for child support?
Yes, she did.
Did she, who, if anyone, did she advise that she was going to be fighting?
Like, who did she mention? Who did she tell? She told me, and I'm sure her family. And I don't know who else. And Anthony.
Let me show you. States Exhibit 48.
just leave it a little bit, and it'll focus on some confused. It'll take a little bit, but it'll try to focus.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna just like 9442. This is you,
Yes.
and this is on February the 12th. Right, so now, got the January, now in February.
Yeah, a month later.
Okay, what are y'all talking about here?
And so, she's telling me, dude, A just replied. A is Anthony. What the fuck do I say? Where are you when I need you? And then she puts putis, meaning that was like a nickname, right? I wasn't answering.
What was going on?
Well, Anthony had just replied to her and she was trying to tell me, but I wasn't answering because my phone was, I was having issues with my, that's a text message, so I was having issues with my phone.
At this time, February 12th, is she already moving forward with the child support?
Yes.
Is that why he's reaching out to her?
Yeah. Yes.
On March 25th. Remember March 25th, 2018?
Yes.
Remember anything significant that happened on that day?
Yes. That's my new phone number. So that I had just gotten a new phone.
Okay. You don't know what that means, like, you get a phone call or text or whatever?
Yeah, that was a phone call she called me that day.
You remember that day, March 25th?
Yes.
And this is about 15 days before, prior to Dominic's death, correct?
Yes.
What can you tell us about that day, from that morning, if you remember anything that happened?
So she goes to meet up with Anthony at the Winfield Park.
Okay. And were you aware of this meeting?
I don't recall if I knew beforehand, before her going. I just received that call around noon. And that's when she starts explaining to me what had happened.
And what happened?
From what I remember, I don't remember the whole conversation. I just remember her calling me crying.
Okay, let's talk about that. She calls you crying.
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what's her emotional state when she called?
She was crying. She was really emotional, very, she was angry that she had gone to the park. She was regretting her going.
And while she was crying on this conversation?
Yeah, she was just crying and crying.
What kind of things was she saying?
She was just saying that, well, I can hear the baby crying in the background. She was just like, that she was regretting going over to go meet up with Anthony, that it didn't go as planned. She just wanted him to see the baby, to have a little relationship, just to meet him, and, talk about the child support. And he had said something along the lines with, me vas a odiar por lo que voy a hacer.
See, this is the problem with us women at times. We have to realize you cannot change a man. She thought she can change him. I'm just, going little bits and pieces. So, excuse me, and I'm not out here trying to bash the victim or anything like that. Absolutely not. But we just have to call out certain things so we can prevent it from happening to us. But you can't change him. He said from the get-go he didn't want to be bothered. So it's nothing you can do to change him. There's nothing. And it's sad. I think she had some sort of hope that she would change his feelings and maybe they can live happily ever after. But it doesn't work that way. Only in the movies, only in the books. But in real life, no. If a dude tells you he doesn't want you, he doesn't want the kids with you, believe me, he means it. Alright, let's get back to it.
Meaning, you're gonna hate.
Okay.
Go ahead. Not sure how to do
Do I keep on?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm going to ask you.
You're going to hate me for what I'm going to do.
that accurate to what the translator just said?
Yes.
You're gonna hate me for what I'm gonna do?
Yes. And
And what if anything do you say or do?
well, I told her that that sounded like a threat, so she should put a restraining order against him.
That was your advice for her to go get a restraining order?
Yes, I told her to, and just to be careful, and not to meet up with him again. That was around that time.
Did she ever go and get a restraining order?
Not that I know of, no.
Anything else that you learned about Dominic that day? Anything happened to him?
Later on that day, we had a concert to attend that night. So I texted her like around 4, and I was like, "Are you ready?"
What concert?
The Bad Bunny concert
Was here in the...
in the arena, yes. So I texted her around 4, and I said, "Hey, are you ready? Are we still going?" Or something like that. And she told me that she was at the hospital with Dominic because she thought that he had got bitten by a spider or something, that he was in pain.
And what did she end up going with you to the concert, or what happened to Dominic?
Yeah, so she was at the emergency room, and he was getting treated, and so I guess they gave him antibiotics. He got treated, and they released him, and we did end up going to the concert later on that night
Where did she go?
with her mom.
That's it.
Mr. Bach?
Pardon me, good morning.
Good morning.
Shoot at that mic, please.
Okay, Deb, so they wasn't far in age.
Thank you
Okay,
for being here.
gotcha.
I think, and I know everyone in this room is very sorry for your loss. You were Grizelda's best friend.
Yes.
And more than that, you were the last person to see both Grizelda and Dominic alive.
Yes.
And that's a very heavy burden, isn't it?
Yes.
And, ma'am, you testified on direct examination that you never actually met Anthony, is that correct?
Correct.
Right. And you never saw Anthony and Grizelda together, correct?
Correct.
So everything that you know about their relationship is from Grizelda, is that correct?
Correct.
And just very briefly, I want to talk about the evening, actually the 25th. And the 25th stands out because that's the day that you went to the Bad Bunny concert, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you testified on direct examination that Grizelda called you from the emergency room. Did I understand that correctly?
No, she did not call me from the emergency room.
Okay. So she called you, and that was the exhibit that the state showed you. Is that the record? Is that correct?
From the text messages?
Well, the last exhibit they
Okay,
showed you
okay.
was a phone call, as I understood.
Yeah, but she was not at the emergency yet.
She was on her way to the emergency room.
She was not on, I didn't know about the emergency room until she texted me.
And you actually had messaged with Grizelda earlier that day on the 25th in the morning. Isn't that correct?
I messaged her, I'm pretty sure since we did speak daily.
So she messaged you on Facebook very early in the morning on the 25th.
Mhm.
Isn't that correct?
I don't recall. I'm sure she did. I'm not too sure.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection to see a copy of your Facebook Messenger?
Yeah.
Judge, may I, Judge?
You may.
May I pass it to the Judge?
Or do you intend to offer that?
It depends on what it says.
Okay, go ahead.
But I'll take that. So look at those messages and let me know when your recollection is refreshed.
Yes, I do recall these messages.
Okay. And are those Facebook messages, do they accurately reflect the messages that you exchanged with Grizelda on the morning of the 25th?
Yes, it's just not the morning, it's like after, in
So I know you're looking at it, and you say it's the afternoon because it says
13.
UTC 1340. Is that why you're saying it's the afternoon?
Yeah, it's like after.
Okay. So I would ask you.
Melanie, I was thinking the same thing. He has a large defense team. Where you get all of them from? This is insane. All right, let's get back to it.
Well, if I apologize, may I have the back so I can mark it?
Are you gonna offer it?
I am.
Okay, because there was no objection to the state at the very beginning, so that's why I'm trying to avoid that. What is the number on it?
It'll be D1, sir.
Defendants one, being offered the objection? Admitted. Can you hand that back to counsel? Is this one and two or just one? Because I see two exhibit tags on it.
It's 2 pages.
Right.
So I'll do
Just one is fine.
defendants 1. Defendants 1.2 will be page 166. And defendants 1.1 will be page 165.
No. That's 1.1 and 1.2 are, there is no one.
And so, and I apologize, I put them in the bin. I'm gonna retrieve it and go back.
Go ahead.
Trying to obey the court. So now if I can have you look at page 165. I apologize, page 166 as it's marked at the top, which for the record is defendants 1.2. And at the bottom of the page, it's the 4th message from the bottom. It says author Adriana Lynette. Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. And that's where it says sent, and then it's 2018 325.
Yes.
Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, that's what it says here.
And then it says 133556 UTC. Is that correct, ma'am?
1335, yeah, UTC. Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try to use
You know,
it.
you just have to focus out of that, because I think it's a good.
Yeah, we talking to you now, Gigi. You disappeared on us, girl. All right. Yeah, he have a lot of attorneys. Where you get this money from? Interesting.
It says 133546 UTC. And then you have written to Grizelda, why are you awake? Is that correct?
Yes.
And that UTC doesn't refer to Central Standard Time that we're in.
Okay.
Is that what you understand it?
Yeah, that's what I was getting confused with the time.
And
You paying for this big old defense team, but you're going to be found guilty. Oh, I'm just saying. Reason.
so we're not sure actually this afternoon. Is that correct?
From my Facebook records, that would be sent in like after midnight.
And she replied, and the next, and these are the way that they're ordered here is in reverse order.
Yes.
Right. So you asked her, why are you awake? And then she said, I can't sleep.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And then Grizelda, in the next message, wrote to you and said, all night with Dom, and right now I just woke up.
Yes.
And then you all have a discussion about going to the concert. Is that correct?
Yes.
Just like that,
And I'm pointing to what is labeled as 133656 UTC. It's the 4th message from the top, and you said, yay, what are you wearing?
Correct.
And then the message above that is from Grizelda to you, where she says IDK, which you understood meant I don't know what he has. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And you understood that to mean in reference to Dominic. Is that right?
Yes.
Grizelda was telling you she doesn't know what he has because she said that she was up all night with Dominic and that she woke up. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And just so everyone understands, this is the morning of the 25th before she was taking Dominic to see Ronald. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I'd ask you to look at page 165, which has been admitted as Defense Exhibit 1.1. And then Grizelda, and again, everyone understands these are in reverse order, the way Facebook provides them.
Okay, let's pause for a second to see the votes. All right, the vote is, do you want him to get the death penalty? We have 13 votes. 62% says absolutely, Donna. 31% says no, life in prison. 8% says I'm against the death penalty. Resume.
Writes, yes, and he's coughing. And can you read that next line? It's the bottom of the page.
Yeah, yes, and he's coughing. Así como que se va a vomitar. His eyes are really watery. He just wants to be carried, and I know, babe.
One second.
Like he's going to throw up. I don't know.
I'm sorry,
Did you hear that? Did you hear it?
Yes.
She heard it.
Did you understand that when Grizelda wrote that Dominic had been coughing all night and it looked like he was going to vomit?
Yes,
Okay. And his eyes were really watery, and he just wanted to be carried.
yes,
And so that was the entire night before Dominic saw Lottie. Is that correct?
according to the date, yes.
Okay. And you have no reason to suspect that Facebook has altered the date or anything, is that
No.
correct? Okay. And matter of fact, 2 messages up, so it's 3 messages from the bottom. You respond to her with, that's Aaron right now, dude. Is that correct?
Yes,
And Aaron, is Aaron your child?
Aaron is my child, yes.
Okay, so your child was sick at the same time, is that correct? Aaron?
Yes.
Okay. And Grizelda, in the next line, she describes in more detail about Dominic's condition, and it was all night, he was waking up crying and with a fever and whatnot. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yes,
And then eventually, as you've already described, you both decided to go to the Bad Bunny concert. Is that right, man?
yes,
So, and I just want to, this is summarizing it, and from your understanding and what Grizelda had told you, Dominic was sick prior to seeing Ronald on the 25th. Is that your understanding, ma'am?
according to the messages, yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness. Thank you for your patience, ma'am.
You are excused. You go back to your Thank you.
Thank you.
Careful with it. Could you all approach real quick? If you bang out, Mr. Hernandez.
Okay, we're going to watch a little bit of the next person that get on the stand. We're just going to watch a little bit of it. I can't remember exactly who was this on the stand, but if you like, put in the chat if you was watching it. Let me know. Okay. Resume.
Next witness, please.
State call Border Patrol Agent Bradley Dennison.
Dennison or Dennison?
Dennison, Bradley Dennison.
All right, thank you. Much up. Good morning, sir. You've been sworn in already, have you not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please have a seat.
You got some water already.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Proceed when ready.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Bradley Dennison.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you for the purpose of the court reporter to speak loudly and into that microphone. You want to pull it up and move your throat, your chair in. Okay. Mr. Dennison, how are you employed?
I work for the United States Border Patrol
Okay.
as a Border Patrol agent.
Okay. And how long have you been with the Border Patrol?
This time a little over 23 years, sir.
Okay. What are your current assignments?
I'm currently assigned at the Laredo North Station to the day shift.
Okay. Throughout your career, what cities have you been assigned to?
I've only, my entire career I've been here in Laredo.
Okay, great, great. Before we get started, I want to go over some terminology that's unique to the Border Patrol and or law enforcement rather, but and also discuss a little bit of what the standard uniform is. You know how it is you all wear your uniform. I see today you are in uniform.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and as part of your uniform, you carry a Sam Brown or a belt.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what does that consist of?
So our typical duty belt is, we'll carry obviously a firearm, required to carry 2 magazines, spare ammunition magazines, a less lethal use of force weapon, handcuffs, radio. It consists of an inner belt that goes in on the pants inside the belt loops, outer belt that goes outside, and those two belts are held together with a minimum of 4 belt keepers.
Belt keepers, okay. Would you mind, do you have that equipment, some of that equipment on today?
Yes, sir, I do.
Donna, can you show the ladies something? Can you please kind of stand up and do some show and tell with the jury so that they can see you? If you can come, can you come down here? And I'm asking you this over here. This is an important part of this case. Just kind of walk us through what you're wearing.
So, obviously, like I said, inner belt goes on the pants itself inside the belt loops. Outer belt, as you can see, holds all my inner equipment, sidearm, magazines, flashlight, et cetera. Keepers that I mentioned will be back here. I have 4 of them fastened in the front, and behind the firearm, in the back. And the purpose of those is, while you're moving, it keeps those 2 belts from separating the outer belt that has weight on it from moving around your body, either shifting side to side or moving up or down for them to hold everything in place. Because it does have, like I said, it supports quite a bit of weight and all the equipment.
You struggle to unbutton the keeper.
They just snap off like that. Most keepers are the same way. Some will only have 1 button, most have 2 buttons, snaps, I should say. They just be underneath the inner belt. Flip it over, then just snap them, place and hold those 2 belts together. Okay. Minimum we're required to wear 4 keepers. Our uniform standards, some guys wear more, 4 or 5 in these cases. Thank you, sir. Where they don't weight.
Now, can you define what the word muster means?
So muster for us in the Border Patrol would be a gathering we have, I guess, at the beginning of every shift. We report to our duty station. We gather in the muster room that's designated at the station. Everybody who's working that shift for that day, supervisors, watch commander, regular agents, we all gather there. Roll is called. Assignments are given out. Any information about patrol information from the day before, what things to expect that day, things that might be going on in the community, information like that, significant arrests, all that information is given out. After muster, after they get their work assignments, you go get your vehicle assignments, any equipment you want to check out from the station, and then we leave the station and go report to our assigned areas of duty for the day.
Great. Another term that I want you to explain is kilo unit.
So a kilo unit in the Border Patrol is a pickup truck. It could be a Ford, could be a Chevy, could be a Dodge, but that's the part of the number designator for a pickup truck in the Border Patrol. Usually it'll start with kilo, and then after that, it has an assigned number for the individual pickup truck.
When you say it starts with kilo, is that the letter K?
Letter K, yes, sir.
It's
Letter
not
K.
the word kilo.
No, it's the letter K, and then either 4 or 5 numbers will follow that.
Okay. What about boots? What kind of, are you guys issued boots, or what type of boots do you all use?
So we're not issued and required to wear a specific brand or model of boot. The way our uniforms work, we have a uniform allowance that we're issued every year. Every agent is given.
Okay, Melanie, what are you saying? Correction. His defense is indeed court appointed. He has tried to fire them many times. Oh, but because it's death penalty, the judge won't let him. Oh, interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Interesting.
The same amount, a certain dollar amount that we can spend through our uniform company that has the contract to provide our uniforms. On that website through that company, there are certain models that we can purchase, certain makes, manufacturers, but we're not required to wear only those. We're restricted by color, material, things of that nature. As long as our boots meet those requirements, we can go outside of those that uniform ordering website, but we have to spend our own money. If we're going to use the uniform allowance, most agents will buy from those boots that are available to them on the website there.
Okay. And as far as the green uniform that you wear today, is that issued?
That is also available on that site, and that is required. We can't go outside of that provider to provide our actual uniforms. The only thing we can go outside for is belts or nylon gear and boots. Everything else pretty much has to come through that uniform provider.
What about knives, folding knives, utility knives? You guys carry that on your own, or is it issued?
No, that's not issued. Most agents carry one, a knife of some type, but that's up to us to provide on our own.
Okay, thank you. What about what are the primary duties and responsibilities of a Border Patrol agent like yourself?
As far as like our mission statement, or just what we do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I mean, your mission statement, and then what you do day to day.
So day-to-day, an average day for a Red North agent on the shift on the line, we have multiple duties that we cover. Obviously the checkpoint, most people are familiar with our checkpoint that we run up on I-35. And then mainly, other than some support roles, it's going to be to patrol the river areas of Laredo, also the highway areas, the ranches north of town, to detect any kind of illegal entry into the country, whether that's terrorist weapons, illegal aliens, other kind of contraband. That's primarily what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Now, I want to direct your attention to April the 9th of 2018. Do you recall that day?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Were you on duty that day?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. Let's start off in the morning.
Okay.
Did you report on that morning?
Yes, sir. To the day shift, I reported at 6 a.m. that morning.
Okay. And tell us where you reported and how you reported and what you did that morning.
So like I mentioned, we start off with muster in the morning. So I reported at 6 a.m. is when what our start time is for the day shift. So I reported to my station. We had muster 6 a.m. Received my work assignment for the day, which for that day I was working the area from the Father McNabb Park up to the World Trade Bridge. That was my designated assigned area to patrol for that day. So after muster, like I said, retrieved my vehicle keys, equipment I was going to use for that day from the armory at the station, went out and went to my area patrol.
And when you say you reported to work that day, where is that station?
So that is on McPherson Road, north of Loop 20. Just, I guess it's 2 blocks north of Loop 20. The address is 1111 McPherson. It's north of the loop there.
Okay.
The Redmore Station.
And so you're talking about where you were assigned that day, correct? You said between Father McNabb Park all the way out to
The World Trade Bridge.
More or less for the jury, if you can orient us to how many miles that is.
It's probably, I would say, a stretch of about a mile, more or less from, I measured it specifically, but it's probably about a mile from the park up to the World Trade Bridge.
Okay.
Possibly a mile and a half, but probably about a mile.
You may step down, sir.
This is now State's Exhibit 102. So, defense. So what we want to do is be able to show the jury where it is that your area that you were covering that day. Show them.
So my area from that day, this is the World Trade Bridge here. This is next to the River, United States. This is the World Trade Bridge. My area would have gone from that bridge all the way down here to where the park begins. Soccer fields are here, baseball field here. So pretty much right here, there's a baseball field. It's what we always consider the starting part. Now it's a little more developed. It's second out there. It's that kind of, it's pretty much from the end of 12 feet on down. The park begins.
Very good. Do you know how many agents did you have a seat? Do you know how many agents were assigned that day to that region?
The specific area that I was assigned to, it was only me, sir.
Do you know an agent by the name of Maximo Lugo?
I do, sir, yes.
Do you know where he was assigned on that day?
So he was assigned the next area downriver of me, south of me, which that area encompasses Fletcher Lane, from Fletcher Lane up to the start of the park there.
Okay, so it would have been adjacent or contiguous to you? Would have been
Correct, sir, yes.
So you all would have been in areas that touch each other?
Yes, sir.
Do you know Agent Ronald Burgos-Aviles?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you can, do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And can you identify an article of clothing he's wearing or where he's sitting?
Yes, sir, he's wearing looks like a light blue shirt, blue tie, sitting at the table over there.
Okay. The record reflect that Agent Dennison has identified Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to fast forward because I want to get into what this guy had to say. Got it mixed up. Let's get into when he got on the stand before I end. We got about another 20 more minutes here, so let's focus on this other gentleman. Give me a second. When did he get on the stand? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, that gentleman is done. Let's get into him. All right, let's go from here.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
You've been sworn in, is that correct?
Yes, sir, I have, Your Honor.
Please, sir. Have a seat right up here.
Thank you, sir.
Get comfortable, pull up your chair, and we'll start the examination.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, it's Francisco Noel Lara.
And how are you employed?
I'm employed as a Border Patrol agent.
And how long have you been employed as an agent?
In October, it'll be 12 years.
What are your duties and responsibilities?
My duties, my responsibilities are to deter terrorists and terrorist weapons from coming into the United States, and also to safeguard our borders from illegal activities that attempt to bypass legal frontiers, or ports of entries, meaning human smuggling or human or contraband smuggling.
Prior to the Border Patrol, work with any other law enforcement agencies?
I was with the military for 4 years. I was in the Marine Corps. And prior to that, I was with the Transportation Security Agency for approximately a year and a half as a federal officer.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, sir.
On April the 9th of 2018, were you employed as a Border Patrol agent?
Yes, I was.
Were you a supervisor?
No, I was not.
Okay. I want to go back to that day. Where did you report to that day?
I reported to the Illinois Border Patrol Station.
What time was your tour?
My tour started at 6 in the morning and it lasted till 4 in the afternoon.
Okay. Were you present for muster that day?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And what, did you get assigned an area that day?
As far as the area, my duties that day were to...
Yeah, I caught some of him, Deb. Yeah, and I got it mixed up with the other guy. I really wanted to show him. So we're going to focus on him for about another 15 more minutes. It's on fast speed. But he said this angel was great witness. I felt so bad for him at the end. Oh, deep. All right, we're going to focus on what he has to say, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it.
To pretty much take care of 4 new hires, 4 new recruits that had been barely employed and were about to go to the academy. So my job that day was pretty much to take care of them at the old Border Patrol Station on Zapata Highway. It's for the South Station. We call it Old Base 7. My job that day were to pretty much take care of them while they get sworn in.
So kind of field training?
Yes, I was a field training officer. Still currently am.
I'm sorry?
I'm still a field training officer right now.
Okay, so you still do field training?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have a new recruit with you that day?
Yes, sir, I did.
What was his name?
Johnny L. Smith.
And did you at any time that day visit Father McNamara Park?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And how did you arrive at Father McNamara Park?
I want to say by pure coincidence. My duties, like I said, were to be at the old the South Station. I was supposed to be there as long as it took for the new recruits to get sworn in, speak to the chiefs, fill out some paperwork, and then a lot of times we're there all day. But thankfully that day around between 10 and 10:30, my team leader told me to pretty much start training my new field training, my trainee, Johnny L. Smith. He told me that he would take care of the new hires and for me to go to the field and commence his training.
Okay. Are you familiar with someone by the name of Ronald Burgos-Aviles?
Yes.
How are you familiar with him?
He was my supervisor on that particular day.
Okay. Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you point out an article of clothing that he is wearing?
Black coat with black, might be a silver tie?
That's the
Silver
right-
shirt, I'm sorry.
Okay. Reflect that he's identified Ronald Burgos-Aviles in the courtroom. Now, you say he was your supervisor that day?
Yes.
Did you have any contact with him prior to going to Father McNamara Park that morning?
Only at muster. He didn't give muster, but he was present at muster.
And what happened at muster?
We show up, they give the actual field agents their assignments for that day. And I believe whether it was the supervisor leading muster or the watch commander asked them if they had anything to say. I remember him speaking that morning. I think he gave us some words of things to do. I forgot what it was as far as their duties. And that's how I remember him that day, that he was present at muster.
Had he been your supervisor previous to this day?
Yes.
How long had you worked under his supervision, if you can recall? Or how many times?
I guess as far like I don't remember exactly when he became a supervisor, but however long he was a supervisor, however many years or months he was a supervisor prior to that day, April 9th, 2018.
Now, I want to focus your attention to when you arrived at Father McNamara Park. You remember arriving there?
Yes, I do.
You remember how it's a complex, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's pretty big.
Do you remember how you gained entry into the park?
On that particular morning, we came in through Lowry. We went west. And at the entrance of that park, that certain area to the soccer field, there's a gate to the left. And that gate on that particular morning, it was open. So that's how we gained entry into that area that we call the soccer fields.
Okay. If I can ask him to step down now just to show the jury his location.
Thank you.
I'm going to hold this up for you and ask you to...
Once again, let's start over here.
Okay.
Come over here.
Yes, please. And hold it right there. And then come up and mark it. All right, so can you orient us here?
Yes, we came down Allen. From Allen, we went west towards the entrance to this area. That's the end of Lowry. And then to the left is the gate that's usually at the time, up until that time, it was usually locked. That particular morning it was open, so we went into the park to that area, which we call the soccer field.
Okay. So just this one in the draw so we can mark it?
Yes. I think what number is that?
Number 97. 97.
Yes, this one was wrong. You haven't readmitted it yet.
So you can mark it. Okay, I do see some issues there. Okay, so I want you to, with this black pen, mark where you entered the park you said on Lowry. Yeah.
There's the gate, so to this area.
Show me an arrow. Oh, draw an arrow.
Okay.
Okay, put your initials above that. Okay, and can you show us where the gate is?
The gate should be somewhere around this area, starting one.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Yeah, draw a line where you think the gate is.
It should be right at the entrance. As soon as you take a left, there's a gate right there.
Okay. From here, where did you go?
We went south, and at the time there was a Conex box here. That's where we parked in this little parking lot area. We reversed into that area.
Is it in here?
Yes, this area.
Okay. So you can put a P there or
Yes.
where you parked? Okay. Did you reverse into this area?
Yes, I did. My truck was facing east into the neighborhood.
Okay. I'll put your initials right there. Okay, and how long were you parked there?
No more than 5 minutes.
What were you doing?
We were going to laminate some maps that I had assigned my trainee that morning. He did not complete the mission over the weekend, so we were going to laminate them with packaging tape.
Okay. Were you supposed to be in this area?
Not initially, no, sir. We ended up there by pure coincidence.
Okay. The time that you were there, did you end up moving your vehicle at any time after parking it?
Only after, at the time, Mr. Burgos asked me for my assistance.
Okay. And we'll get into that, but now that I have you standing
Yes.
here, you say he asked you for assistance. Where would you have moved from here?
From here, I would have moved to this area,
Okay.
which is south towards what we call the Pettis property over here.
Did you drive or walk?
We drove, sir, once he asked for my assistance.
Okay, so show me the direction you drove.
We drove across the field.
Oh, you cut through the field?
Yes, to the soccer fields.
Where did you cut to?
Through here, there's a dip.
Uh-huh.
And then once we get to this area, at the time there was a bunch of brush and trees. There still is, but at the time we came to this dip, I remember I went around. I guess I went 1 hour. This is where I parked.
Yeah.
When I came to his assistance, I saw his truck on this side and I parked directly across it.
Okay, so this is without marking it.
Yes.
There's 2 markings here, which is the general area where these vehicles were. Do
Yes.
you remember this island?
Yes, I do. So I would have parked there initially when I came across.
Okay. All right. That's all for now.
Yes.
Have a seat. So going back to where you were, you said you went in there, you reversed in to that area next to the soccer field or next to the Conex box. You were there with Smith, you said.
Yes.
Laminating maps. What, if anything, happens while you're laminating?
We commenced to do that, and no more than 5 minutes later, my trainee Smitty says, "Hey, there's another kilo coming in." So
What's a kilo?
it's a Ford F-150.
What happens?
I look over and I see the kilo driving on the same lorry, driving west, and it kind of slows down as it comes to us, and we eventually find out it's Mr. Burgos.
You come in contact with Supervisor Burgos?
Yes, after he parks to, I guess, our passenger side.
And what happens next?
We call it, he slow rolls to us. I'm facing the neighborhood. His truck is facing, when he parks to our passenger side, his truck is facing the river. We lower our window. He lowers his passenger window. And I go ahead and tell my trainee, "Hey, it's Supervisor Burgos." And at that moment in time, he's grabbing onto his steering wheel and he's just looking over quietly, kind of just like leaning over. And I told my trainee, "Hey, it's Supervisor Burgos." I tell him, "Hey, sir, we heard you're going to be short-handed. We're going to be in the area if you need it. We're just going to be laminating maps." So he's quiet and he looks at his phone and then he says, "Hey, they just told me to 22, base 2, which means go back to the station." And he's like, "Do you know there's a way out this way, which means south?"
That south is past the soccer field?
Yes, it's towards that Pettis property where I guess there's that little dip that goes to an ATV trail.
To the brush?
Yes. So I told him at the time I did not remember. So I told him, to be honest, I don't remember. And he's like, "It's okay." I was like, something to the effect like, "That's okay, I'll go find out," or something like that. So when he leaves, we raise our window, and then I told my trainee, like, "You know what, Schmitty? I just remembered that they're building apartments. I think that area where he's trying to get out is blocked." So I'm like, "It sucks to be him. Let him find out the hard way." And we continue doing our thing, laminating maps.
After you said that it sucks to be him, what happened?
We continue laminating maps. He's cutting the maps. I'm trying to laminate them with the packaging tape. And no more than a minute and a half, less than 2 minutes later, we hear him over the actual radio. And when we hear "Lada," something to the effect like, "I need you." That's a Lada, get over here. So as soon as I hear my name, Lada, with some urgency, I drop what we're doing and we drive across the soccer fields to his position.
You hear him calling for help. You arrive on scene.
Yes, when I get to that dip, we hit it pretty hard. Everything flies all over the place, and I can feel my tires slipping. It's like not enough traction is going. So I hit it pretty hard, like we come around, and as I get around the brush, the ATV trail, I could see on the other side of where he's parked, I can see his overhead lights, his red and blues. So he's parked like in a circular area. He parks on the other side, and I park on the opposite side of him. That's where I eventually meet up with him.
Go ahead. Show you where it's been marked with dates. 77. Do you recognize the CD?
Yes.
Have you been able to hear the transmission from that day?
Yes.
You're able to identify the voices in this transmission?
Yes.
Well, excuse me, who just creeped through the back door late night? Long time no see. Good evening to you too. Have you been watching this, following this trial, Rusty? There's a monster, another monster on the loose. Well, he won't be on the loose much longer. But I hope all is well with you. Hope all is well with you. Resume.
State 77, being offered. Any objection? Be admitted without objection.
Permission to play the transmission.
You may publish. Yeah, play. Are you going to play?
Yes, sir.
Here. Do it after this.
But when he says that la November star number, that pretty much says la star number copy. That means, do you copy me? Do you hear me? So yes.
Let it play, then you can explain any of the codes or whatever it is.
Copy, take.
That it?
Hey, bro, I need your help right here, bro. My Bristol, man. And I'm going to say, I'm going to EM at ASAP at the end of Bristol. River.
At the end of Bristol, River Road?
Bristol at the River Road ATV Trail.
What's the traffic?
This is subject you need help, ASAP.
Yeah, what's the traffic? What's the situation? What kind of EMS are we gonna be requesting?
940, I don't know yet. Stand by. Let me go check. Just have to come over here.
It's Bristol, River Road. That's area, that Delwood area.
Yeah, 1040.
Therefore, we'll be sending by for information on the subject.
The VP no subject. Stand by. Just loud. We're trying to see if it's a head aspiration or.
Come on.
Hey, 6847. I'll be here right from 2 days.
All right, so you heard, what channel are you all on the transmission?
We are what's called Moss Tower. That'll be the tower for La North, sir.
Did you recognize the voices on that?
Yes.
What was going on there?
At the time, I did not know what was going on. When he called me la, I get to his position. It doesn't take me more than a minute and a half. I get there. I see his truck with his overhead lights turned on. I start making my way to Mr. Burgos when I see him looking down the ATV trail, looking south. His body is standing outside of the truck with radio in hand, just looking down the ATV trail. So when I'm making my way to Mr. Burgos' truck, I see him looking south, so I look south and I see the silhouette of the victim.
You want him to come down?
Yeah, can you come down?
You can go down.
Thank you, Ron.
On 101, I wanted to go ahead and withdraw 101.
101 was one of the exhibits that was already, it's already been withdrawn, yes.
Bring it over, you stand over here. Okay. So, you described in your previous testimony about a dip. Is that, what, do you see that dip where you enter, or is it out of the?
It should be in this area.
Okay. So you enter, you can show the jury how you drove in.
We drove across the soccer fields. We hit the dip. I get enough traction to get over. At the time, Mr. Burgos was parked on this side was his kilo truck, so I go ahead and park on the opposite side. So eventually, when I'm trying to make my way to him, I see him looking down south towards the ATV trail. That's when I look over and see the silhouette of the victim.
At any time, do you aware of another kilo unit coming also, arriving and parking behind Burgos?
After the fact, it was Agent Dennison.
Okay, so it would have been,
At the time, it was just him and myself.
okay, but, so, after, you got there before Agent Dennison?
Yes.
So if you could indicate where you would best approximate Burgos' kilo unit was when you arrived with a B for Burgos.
Somewhere here.
Okay. And put a K for kilo. BK, right here. That's good. Okay, and where did you put your kilo unit?
It should have been across, directly across from him.
Okay, so you can put more or less your last name or your initial. Okay. And the kilo unit there, right, K. And where did Dennison ultimately park his?
It should have been behind Mr. Burgos.
Okay, so put a D there for Dennison. Okay, put the K for kilo unit. Okay. So now, describe and indicate for the jury what you saw.
Initially, all I could see was his overhead lights through the brush. At the time, it was pretty high brush, but I could still see enough of his kilos. I see the overheads. I don't know what I'm expecting. All I heard is that he called me. It sounded urgent, so my job is to get there as fast as I can. So I park there. I'm looking over towards him, and that's when he's outside of his truck, looking south, the ATV trail.
South is towards me?
Yes, towards the Bettis property. There's a house over here, a landmark that we refer to as the Bettis property. So when I get there, he's looking south. So I look south, and I see the silhouette of the young woman. So I completely forget about Mr. Burgos, and I start running towards the victim.
Is off this island, where would the victim's body be more or less?
Somewhere in this area. Because it's the island, so we're going to run right
Somewhere
here.
around here?
Yes.
Okay. So then what do you do when you see the victim?
As soon as I see the victim, I approach and I start yelling, like, "Señora, señora, despierta, está despierta. Ma'am, wake up." Because at this time, all I see is blood. I told my trainee, I call him Schmitty. I like, "Schmitty, is that what I think I'm looking at?" And I see the silhouette, and I immediately start running towards her. And that's when I tell him, like, I start yelling at her, "Está despierta, are you awake?" So at that time, initially, right away, I said, "Sir, do you have any gloves?" But she said, "No, I do not."
Who did you say that to?
Initially, I asked Mr. Burgos, "Do you have any gloves?" He's like, "No, I do not." So I say, "I don't have any gloves." And I asked my trainee, Schmitty, "Do you have any gloves?" And thankfully, being the great agent he was, he did have a pair of gloves. So he goes ahead and tells me, like, "Sir, I have gloves." So I take them both. I grab one, and I give one to Mr. Burgos. I put the glove as best as I can, immediately check for a pulse. I don't feel a pulse. Before anything, I'm radioing everything into, initially, before I even touch her, I radio everything into our station, base 2, and I'm telling them what we're seeing.
Hold on, Agent Leonard.
Yes.
Take the stand. I think this is good for now. Take the stand.
Thanks.
You continue on.
Appreciate it.
So continue. You're radioing in the intel that you have, right?
Yes. Radioing that we have a female. I'm not sure at the time. I think I tell them, let me see if it's a laceration or a head wound. All I know is that I'm seeing a woman covered in blood. There's blood on the ground. So I tell them to stand by. I put on the glove as best as I can, and I immediately check for a pulse. I don't feel a pulse. I look at my fingers, and they're covered in blood because I checked her neck area. So I don't feel a pulse. So I immediately see her left wrist. It's facing up. I check her wrist, and again, I do not feel a pulse. Right away, I tell Mr. Burgos, "Sir, I think she's 10-7, which means that she's dead." And he's like, "Yeah, it looks that way." So I'm radioing everything into our station, and I'm letting them know what I'm seeing. So I tell our station, we have a female that appears to be deceased, and I'm telling them the blood to the top of her head, to the left, to the body, there's blood splatter all over, the blood's a little bit coagulated. And at that moment, the supervisor at the station, I believe it's Supervisor Ali, tells me, "Okay, take a step back and treat it as a crime scene."
What is Burgos doing at this time?
At this time, he's standing there. Not really, the supervisor normally takes control of the situation and radios in everything to the station. Once again, he's quiet. I'm the one relaying everything that I'm seeing to the station. I'm processing everything in, I'm taking it in, and I'm telling them what I'm seeing. And right away, I start telling the camera operator to start scanning the river. I tell them, "Scan the river, see if you see anybody going back. Scan the Mexican side on the ridges, see if you see anybody out there." I hear the boat patrolling the area, and they ask if we want them to come to our area, which I tell them, of course, come up, try to check the landings where they come up, try to see if you see any tracks, any sign, any mud. I believe also a helicopter pilot reached out to us over the radio, and he asked if we wanted we wanted them to give us a flyby. I believe at the time they were coming back to the radar to refuel. So we tell him to go ahead, please come into the area. And the impression that I got from the pilot at the time was that he's fairly new, because he did not really know where the Pettis property was. So I do remember I told him, come fly south of the river until you get to what's called the CPNL, the Central Power Light Company. And I told him, if you come south, eventually you should see all the vehicles, overheads or whatnot.
Okay, so given all these transmissions, you already checked for a pulse.
Yes.
Does Mr. Burgos do anything around this time?
Not at that time, no sir.
What else do you see him do at any time? At any time did you see him touch the body?
After I sent my agent Schmitty to go to Allen Street in Bristol to open the gate for the paramedics, I believe he took my truck. So for a moment there, we're by ourselves. After that's when I see him move the body.
Okay, and when you say move the body, can you demonstrate for us if the court will allow you to come down here and demonstrate
Yes.
how you move the body? Can you judge? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. At the time, I'm standing next to the victim. I check her. Mr. Boone is standing over here too, I guess on the other side of her. So I told him she's 10-7 with me, she's dead. Radio everything in. I told base 2, I think she's dead. They tell me to take a step back here to the country. So before anything, I told my training, go to the gate and open it for the paramedics. He takes off. So before I take a step back, I'm surprised to see so much blood. So I grab my head and I'm like, where's all this blood coming from? So at that moment, Mr. Burgos is like, cuts in front of me. He's like, let's find out. He grabs her from the bicep area, grabs her from the hip area, picks her up, looks at her, puts her back down. He does that, and my eyes were wide open. I was like, what is going on? And I take a step back. At the time he picks her up, I could see the shadow of her face, it's full of dirt. I could see her hair over her face, but I did not get a clear picture of her. But I am so freaking out and in shock, because I don't know what I'm looking at. So he puts her back down, goes back over her. He's like, you know what? This stuff makes me nervous. I'm gonna go back down this way. He points south again towards the Pettis property. And he walks away, and I see him with his phone in his hand. He's doing something. At the time, I'm thinking he's gonna call base 2, but from what I understand, he never did.
Permission to publish the transmissions of the reference.
Or you can do all three, all the rest of the other two, 77.2 and .2.
That's the remainder of 77.1.
All right. Go ahead.
Hey, Cameron, you start using scan the river, bro. She's on the dirt road. We don't know if she that in the calculated. Somewhere from the head area.
I don't see no movement.
Hey, November, you're with that traffic, come to your hospital, here. Can we assist you with anything? Are you looking for something? Hey, Omaha helicopter, I think they're on walkie there, but I believe they encountered one subject, I guess bleeding. Yeah, if you can make your way down there just to see if they have additional traffic. 10-4, what was this morning? Yeah, it's going to be at the end of Bristol, down towards the ATV trail at the end of Bristol. Okay, Roger, 13. November 16th, Napoli, copy, Mrs. Benaventure, that search.
Yeah, I'm here with Lana. Any of the agents heading this way, just stand by. Stand by.
Hey, were you trying to... Copy.
Hey, 6-8. Copy, Davis. Any unit by World Trade. There's two subjects from DD 8147, that river set of the World Trade, and bank stamp is been.
Hey, 940, copy base 2. Can you notify LPG if you have not done so to respond to that traffic as well at the end of Bristol? Yeah, PD and EMS reminder. They're both fast. Simultaneously.
Now, after you said he walked away south towards the Pettis property, you said he was messing with his phone. What if anything else did you see him do, or what happened?
He goes south, I lose him down the ATV trail for a few moments. Eventually he comes back, because I lose sight of him around the curve. A few moments later he comes back with a tennis shoe, and he's grabbing him by the shoelace. And he's coming back with the tennis shoe towards my position. I didn't think nothing of it at first, so I'm like, I asked him, hey sir, what do you have there? What do you got there? He's like, oh, found the shoe in the brush. In my mind, I'm, okay, he found the shoe. Same thing, I didn't think nothing of it. So he's walking back. And what shocked me was that he put it at the base of her feet, and he just put it there. So again, he puts it there, and as soon as he does that, he starts dragging his feet. Kind of like when you're skiing, he's just dragging his feet to the point where he's picking up dirt. Once again, I'm like, I don't understand what I'm looking at, because I specifically told him there's blood over here to the right of the head, over here to the left. There's blood splatter exactly where he was picking up the dirt. So I'm just processing this quietly and just making mental notes, because at the time, he was my supervisor in charge of me. So in my mind, I'm nobody to be telling him what to do. He tells me what to do. I am a field training officer at this time, but as a supervisor, he's in charge of me. So I remain quiet. By this time, I believe Agent Dennison and Schmitty and I think Agent Herndon are coming back to the scene with the paramedics. And at that time, everything just starts happening.
All right, let me stop you right there. I'm going to show you, this is a graphic photo. I'm going to show you this graphic photo. You can turn on the... Can you identify what you just testified to, what you described?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Sorry, Melanie. Things happen sometimes, but I think she understands. You know, it wasn't nothing personal. But thank you for letting us know, Rusty. It happens. But Melanie, don't go nowhere. Stay there. Stay there. Come back. Come back. I can't take the time out off. I don't know how long it lasts for something, but not too long. It doesn't last for too long. This is sad with this guy that's on the stand. And he's a supervisor, you piece of crap. Okay, resume.
That is the victim, the young woman. At her feet is that shoe that Mr. Burgos placed after he came back from the trial.
Okay. I'm going to show you 131. You recognize that shoe?
Yes.
Your Honor, we have the shoe. We filed the chain of custody affidavit, permission to show Agent Lara the shoe. Is it 10? Yes. All right, this is State's Exhibit 37.
Okay.
This is State's Market State's Exhibit 37.
It's not admitted yet, so.
And but we do have our affidavit chain of custody. We move to admit State's Exhibit 37. Move to introduce her.
Any objection to 37? State's 37. Admitted.
I'll ask you to put these on.
Yes.
I know I said 15 minutes, but I'm in time. I guess you're not in timeout because you was able to type. Able to type. Oh, it's crazy tonight, crazy. What was I trying to say? Oh yeah, I know I kept saying I was like 15 minutes, and I had the wrong guy. This was the one I want to focus on, but it's almost done. It's not that much more of him since we have it on the faster speed. All right, let's finish him up because this is interesting, very interesting. All right, resume.
I'm gonna show you what came out of the bags that Mark states Exhibit 37. Ask you if you recognize the shoe.
Yes, that is a shoe that Mr. Burgos brought back to the scene.
Is it the left shoe or the right shoe?
This is a left. Not muddied, not dirty.
You notice that there's been a cut?
Yes.
Did you make that cut on that?
No, I did not.
That would have been done by law enforcement. Or you don't know?
I would not know.
This shoe was not near the body when you arrived.
No, it was not.
After he drops the shoe, what, if anything, happens next?
Once again, he places the shoe, and immediately after, he starts dragging his feet. Dirt starts picking up a bit. So to me, that was, of course, not procedure, not protocol. In fact, to me, it was very strange that he was doing that.
Why? Why was it strange to you that moment?
Because we were already told specifically not to tamper with the crime scene. We were told take a step back, treat it as a crime scene. And then being a supervisor and us being border patrol agents, we received training in crime scene management. So we kind of know what to do and what specifically what not to do.
Now, I'm going to show you what's been marked as stage 182, and it is a graphic photo. This is right. Is that where vantage point are we looking at this from?
We are on the north side from here. We are looking south towards the ATV trail. The better property of the house would be back further south around the trail.
You're standing near, is this vantage point from the island looking that way?
Yeah, I want to say yes.
On that, when I say island, I'm talking about where these two
Where-
roads come around.
Yes, the island will be back here.
Okay. So that would be the vantage point?
Yes, sir.
And you see the object that's in there as well?
The shoe.
Okay. So this is after the police have already placed the tape, correct?
Correct, sir.
So his treatment of the crime scene, you testify that is confusing to you, correct?
Yes.
What else, if anything, happens after that?
After he does all that, I'm still standing there on that same grassy little island. That's when Agent Dennison, Agent Herndon, and Schmidt are coming back in with the paramedics. As soon as the paramedics arrive, they grab their equipment, they place those little pads on her body and start checking for signs of life.
And any time that you're there with Supervisor Agent Burgos, does he indicate that he knows this person?
Not once.
So after the paramedics get there, what, if anything, did you do?
I'm still standing there. The paramedics finish checking her for life. One of them approaches me, and just to get confirmation for myself, I asked one of the paramedics, "Is she dead?" And he says, "We would not have stopped working on her if she was still alive."
Are you still wearing your gloves at this time?
No, at that time, as soon as I checked her pulse, I took them off, and I kind of just dropped them around the top of her head, somewhere in the brush. When the paramedic comes up to me and he says that, I look over to the young woman and I look at the crime scene, and I told the paramedic, "My gloves are there, I'm contaminating the scene." So he's like, "It's understandable." So I go back and I grab the glove and I'm holding it, and at the time I don't know what to do with the glove that's bloody. So I see both trucks, Mr. Burgos in the front, I believe it's Mr. Dennison in the back, so I just go to the first truck I see and I just put it in the back of the bed. At the time, I had no idea that he knew her, no indication of anything whatsoever. All I knew was that, hey, we're the good guys. Supervisor Burgos, at the time I'm doing everything. I'm checking for life. In my mind, I'm thinking he's got my back. As a law enforcement agent, he's watching my back. So I didn't think anything of it. So when I grab the glove, I just go over and I put it there just for safekeeping.
In the back of his kilo?
In the back of the bed of his kilo, yes, sir.
Does he make any phone calls while you're there to headquarters or anything, or do anything?
Not at that moment, no, sir.
Did you see any cell phones on the victim, or did he tell you he found any cell phones?
No, sir.
Did you get to write a statement for the police department?
Yes, sir. On scene, I made an affidavit, a quick synopsis of what happened, the encounter.
And did you write one or did you write two?
On the scene, I wrote one, and at the police station, I wrote a second, like an addendum.
Now, Burgos bringing over the shoe, did that violate any protocols that you have?
Yes.
Which is what?
Disturbing the crime scene, in my mind, planting evidence.
Did he ever give you any instructions to look for any subjects, go patrol, go investigate, check the riverbanks? Did he give you any orders?
No, sir. I was just doing what the supervisor at the station told me to do, was just take a step back and treat it as a crime scene.
Did you go to the police station that afternoon or the next day?
It was that afternoon, sir.
Okay. And were you interviewed?
Yes, we were told, my trainee and I were told to give our official statement at the police station.
Were you involved in any way in the discovery of the baby?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because at that time, I was on top of Mr. Dennison's truck doing my affidavit.
So the only person that you saw dead was the female? Correct?
Yes, correct.
I'm going to pass the witness this time.
Any questions from the defense? Yes, okay, all right. Mr. Boggs, go ahead.
I apologize. Exhibit number 37.
States? Oh, yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Do you still have gloves, sir?
No, sir, I do not.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Just need one?
One, sir?
Okay.
Yes.
I'm passing, this is the exhibit you previously examined, number 37, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that is the shoe that you saw Supervisor Burgos-Aviles place at the foot of the victim, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and there is, you can see, where does it say memory foam?
Memory foam?
Yes, sir?
It'll be on the bottom, sir, I'm sorry. It'll be in the insole, on the heel.
So, and when you say the bottom, do you mean the inside? of
The inside, yes, of the foam, I'm sorry.
Okay, and how big?
You're taking it off, you're gonna grab it again, I think. Want to save some time.
It's true, but it's just habit. So I just want the record to be clear. It's inside the shoe. There's nowhere outside of the shoe that you can see the memory foam. Is that correct?
That's the only place I can see right now, sir.
Okay, and so and is that big writing that it says memory foam?
It's pretty big, yes.
And I'm finished with it.
Do I go grab it, I guess?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you gave a statement to the police the next day, is that correct?
The same afternoon, sir.
The
Same day.
The same day?
Correct.
And do you recall making that statement? To the
Yes.
police?
Yes.
And today, you told us that Mr. Supervisor Burgos-Aviles was dragging his feet. correct?
Yes.
Now, have you ever encountered a murder scene in the time that you've been a Border Patrol agent?
No.
Okay. So I think you indicated to everyone that this was a and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me, but it seemed like this was an overwhelming scene. There was a lot of blood.
I've dealt with blood, but the sight of the murdered woman was pretty traumatic.
So, so I understand that it was traumatic.
Yes.
But in the statement that you gave that same day, you never mentioned that Mr. Burgos-Aviles dragged his feet, did you?
Not till the second statement.
And by second statement, you mean the written statement, is that correct?
The addendum, yes.
Okay. It wasn't in the initial interview with the police that you said that Mr. Burgos-Aviles dragged his feet, correct?
The first one, just a brief synopsis. When we went to the station, we actually gave our verbal official statement. That's when I mentioned it.
Okay. And you would recognize a transcription of your verbal statement, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Okay. Permission to approach you. And I've marked this as Defense Exhibit 3. And sir, that is 49 pages, correct?
It's a 149, yes.
Okay. And you just told me that you said in that oral statement that you said that Mr. Burgos-Aviles dragged his feet in that original one. It is 49 pages, so it's quite long. But could you show me where in that statement where you said that original?
Go ahead and look for it.
Yes, Your Honor. This time, sir, I did not see it.
So, and I want to make sure I understand that by today's testimony, when you said that you saw Mr. Supervisor Burgos-Aviles dragging his feet, carrying the tennis shoe, it was just you and he on the scene at that time?
Yes.
So, Officer Smith, the trainee, wasn't present at that time, correct?
Correct.
And Officer Dennison was not present at that time, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the day of the incident, you'd already learned that Supervisor Burgos-Aviles was a suspect. You made a statement to the police, and in that statement to the police, you never mentioned him dragging his feet, correct?
Unless it was in the written statement that I put it.
Wow, Deb. That's what happened? Okay, we're gonna finish this out.
And so, as I understand, Officer, you said you made an initial statement, which was just a summary,
Yes,
and then the next day you added, was it the next day or later that day?
later that afternoon.
Later that same afternoon. And so the initial summary was before you knew that Burgos-Aviles, Supervisor Burgos-Aviles was a suspect, is that correct?
One of the supervisors on scene had told me that he was their prime suspect. At the time, I thought it was because of the bloody glove that I put in the back of his kilo. I did not have confirmation that he the main suspect until around 6:30 that night, when another detective pretty much told me. The whole day I had my phone on me. As far as like when we were at the police station, I was getting calls and texts, and I would just glance at it, put it down, glance at it, put it down. Somebody's texting me, put it down. I didn't think nothing of it. After we're done with our questioning, about 5 hours later, on 6:30, when I'm released from the interview room, I go to the lobby of the police station. I am sitting next to Border Patrol Agent Herndon. I get a phone call from my team leader. My team leader tells me, "Hey, we already activated the Border Patrol union, the lawyers for you. Before you make any statements, we already got lawyers." And I'm like, "We already made our official statement." He was surprised. He's like, "Oh, you did?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, before he hangs up, he's like, "Just so you know, there's a rumor saying that the dead woman is Burgos' side chick." I'm like, "All right, 10-4, let me call you back." I told Agent Herndon, "Hey, bro, there's a rumor saying that the dead woman is Burgos'," I use the word Sancha. At that moment, we're talking. Another detective comes out, a big man. I know him as a boxer. He comes out, and I tell him, I still have my phone in my hand. I tell him, "Sir, we just heard a rumor that the dead woman is Burgos' side chick." The detective said, "Side chick? That's his baby mama. And there's a possibility that the dead boy is his son." That's when everything just, I broke down is the word. Everything just, I felt like there's a weight on my shoulder, and I started crying. Because I am thinking,
This is sad. And he's angry as he can be. Ooh, let's get back to it.
I'm good, sir. Here I'm thinking we're supposed to be the good guys. He's supposed to be watching me back.
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
And I broke. I was heartbroken.
1 second, Agent. Just going to question answer basis, Mr.
I'm good, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. I was heartbroken.
1 second, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Give me a second, sir. We're going to take a short break.
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow. And Mel, I know how you feel. Bless this man. I just want to give him a hug. Whoever his woman is, she got herself a good man. He's honest. He's true. He's humble. Oh. Wow. Wow. That is sad. Wow. Okay, we're gonna end it here. I only want to do 90 minutes, but we went past that. Dang, he's coming back on here. Shoot. You know what? All right, let's just see. Let's do another 5 more minutes. This is deep. Let's go to 5 more minutes. I'm just gonna fast forward. All right. Let's go from here.
By this jury, that you, when the time comes to make a decision on this case, that you will not take that into account or factor that in any manner when making a decision on whether this defendant is guilty or not guilty of this crime that he is accused of by the grand jury in this state. You are not allowed to weigh in your consideration or mention it during your deliberations. That is the instructions I gave you. I told you at the beginning that you may receive more instructions. This is one of them. I told you don't concern yourself with the objections made or how many, but with the instructions I give you if something occurs as a result of that. This is one of them. Also, you will disregard, and the only thing that's evidence is what? The only thing you consider is evidence, right? The only thing that's evidence that comes from here, not what comes from out there, from the gallery. You will disregard any comments that you may hear or outbursts that you may hear as a result of that. You will not allow any of that to weigh in when evaluating whether or not a defendant is guilty or not guilty. I'm instructing you, in fact, do therefore not do so when the time comes. Thank you. Any other questions of this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you, officer. So, just to back up a little bit, you'd indicated that in your oral statement given on the day of the murders that.
Deb, is this the part when they asked for the mistrial? Let me know. Or did I pass it? I don't think I passed it, because I skipped through the break. Is this the part that he's asking for the mistrial? Let me know.
You did not mention Supervisor Burgos-Aviles dragging his feet, correct?
I might have mentioned it on the written statement, sir.
The written statement. So when you say you might have, do you mean you don't remember? Or
I do not recall at this time.
Would it refresh your recollection to see your written statements?
Yes.
And I believe.
Oh, darn. Okay. I'm gonna rewind there. I'm gonna get to that part when he hit the mistrial. Let me rewind it.
So I'm.
All right, give me a second here.
Right.
I thought I was. Just give me a second. I passed it. Oh, okay. You're right.
And,
Okay, they
I've
came
marked
back
them
from
for the
break.
record as defendants exhibits 4 and 5. Each are 2 pages.
I think I got it now. Let me fast forward this more. Okay, I think I got it now.
There is a. Everybody keep it down, please. You're on the record. I believe that this is what I assume. Everything that actually happens in court is on the record, but go ahead and summarize what you believe should be on the record.
For the record, just being recorded break, there was the pause in the witness's cross-examination. Mr. Boggs was searching for documents, and Your Honor suggested that perhaps he proceed in the question and answer fashion. While he continued to search for the documents that he needed, the witness continued unprompted, injected his personal feelings about what he perceived at the time that had nothing to do with the evidence that was at issue. He made a statement that he believed they were supposed to be the good guys, and he began to cry on the stand, at which point the victim's family understandably also became emotional, but then had an outburst and said, "Thank you, yes, exactly." There was loud sobbing from the audience. And we believe, Your Honor, at this time we're going to move for a mistrial. The occurrence was extremely prejudicial. It was not just an outburst by a witness, but it was also from the audience. So the double impact cannot be cured if we don't believe by any instruction by Your Honor. This is also further prejudicial because it occurred during the merit phase of the trial rather than the penalty phase, which is after the CCA is considered. And when Your Honor has discretion to consider a motion for a mistrial, there are many factors to be considered, including the nature of the outburst, as well as whether the outburst created a substantial likelihood that the jury would be prejudiced. This was an extremely emotional moment in the courtroom, and I don't believe any jury would be able to disregard that, and to refuse to grant to mistrial at the time would violate Mr. Burgos-Aviles' rights under due process and his right to a fair trial and an impartial jury under both the Texas and the federal constitution.
All right. Any response?
Yes, Your Honor, we respectfully disagree with the defense's position. Although Mr. Lada's testimony was emotional, it was elicited by Mr. Boggs. Rather than stop after the transcript in which he was unable to locate his previous statement regarding the dragging of his feet, he continued. Then there was no objection made by Mr. Boggs. The witness was under the impression that he could continue to answer. He was giving his answer. It's an emotional case. We've already had multiple witnesses that have come up here and cried during their testimony based on what they saw that day, the trauma, the horrific nature, the gruesomeness,
all the blood that was there at the crime scene. In the gallery, yes, there were some reactions in the gallery, but I do not think to the level where they would, as the defense counsel said, in fact, the jury, this is a highly emotional case already. The court can instruct the jury to disregard whatever they may have heard. We don't believe it rises to that level to declare a mistrial. You know, I try really hard to not, you know, I don't want to say interject, interfere. I try to be the person that just is, you know, wearing the, you know, calling the balls and strikes. You know, we're in baseball season right now, right? It's, and at times I do look at counsel table and think, hey, you know, maybe I do it inadvertently. You know, when I think perhaps there should be somebody, you know, calling something out, and I did that in this situation when the witness kept on going. Mr. Boggs was just looking at him, and the witness kept on responding to a question in a long-winded fashion. And I kept on looking at Mr. Boggs. I even glanced at other counsel at the table to see if anybody was going to say anything. I saw other counsel reaching out to Mr. Boggs to see if, and I don't know what they were talking about, but I thought they were maybe talking about whether or not somebody should object. And I kept on looking over there. When nobody said anything, that's when I said, let's go, Mr. Boggs, let's proceed in a question and answer basis. This was after, and but I never instructed the witness to stop. When he said that, that's when I told him to wait a second, wait for the question. So I think there was ample opportunity for the defense team to stop the witness from testifying further. But in any event, I don't see it as a very light situation. I do have to make sure that we present to, in this case, a fair presentation of the evidence to this jury. The defendant deserves that, and the rules call for that. So in any event, in measuring what in fact occurred, I'm not quite sure the summary of everything that you said quite happened in that particular manner and with that type of emphasis, but there was in fact something of that nature close to what you in fact summarized. Obviously the record may not reflect the moans or whatnot that might have been coming from the gallery, but there was some. It wasn't very loud, but there was some. I certainly appreciate your objection now. I wish that there would have been somebody objected to beforehand. But in any event, your motion for mistrial is denied. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would also request very respectfully and with understanding that this is a terrible matter for everyone involved, that Your Honor remind the audience to please.
I will do that now, in fact. Thank you. Two things I'm going to instruct right now. One is the witness. Agent Lara, please answer the questions that are posed to you, and only the questions posed to you, and then stop.
Well, the judge had a good point. The defense didn't really stop it. They let it keep going. So it is what it is. Ha ha. You're not getting off. You thought you were going to get a mistrial. It's not going to work that way. Okay? It's not going to work that way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you go. I'll probably be doing this again tomorrow evening, but a little bit earlier. I'm going to try to keep it under like 90 minutes and just do like recaps or whatever. But this is very interesting. And I have to say to that border control guy, he's humble. He's a good, honest, solid man. Oh, my gosh. And whoever his woman is, wife or whoever, she got herself a good man. And he's a cutie pie, too. Ooh, yeah. Cute, too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody had themselves a good night and a blessed one and a safe one. Thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for hitting the like button. And stay tuned for some more of Donna Just Being Real. Date smart, not thirsty.